Hello and welcome to the Backlog Battler Show, brought to you by, yes, of course, the underpowered team. My name is Shelby Stokes, and this up guy over here, this up is Philip Karen. What's up?
Hey, how are you? What's going on?
Do you see it? Do you see what I
It's
did
been
there?
about a month. It's been about a month. It's
I
been about a month
know,
since we've done
right?
a show.
So here's the problem. I got busy in May, flew all over the country, and then all of a sudden, my priorities weren't in line. I didn't have time to talk about video games on the internet. But here we are. We are back. We are locked in. We are centering this chi. All my different energy points are lined up perfectly. And we're about to say Hail Mary and make this thing happen.
Well, to that I will say, let's do a virtual cheers.
Let's do a virtual
Cheers to
cheers.
you. Tomorrow is Friday.
Bing.
We are living through what I would say is probably one of those years with gaming where it is probably one of the great years that you're going to remember for great games coming out, and so we have a lot to go over.
I know, right? And it's just awesome because you're going from game to game to game. At least I am. And it's like, oh, that's a great game. Done. That's a good game. Not going to finish that one right now. I'm going to go to this other good game. And I'm just hopping from game to game to game. It's just like amazing. I also picked, hear me out, a very poor year to try to catch up on new releases. As you know, I've always focused on stuff from years past. This year I'm like, I'm going to be a big boy and take on the new stuff. And boy, has that backfired like no other.
I can only imagine. I mean, I can only speak from my personal experience. I still have God of War in the chamber from last year because of all the new stuff that's come out. And I probably, with Zelda and Diablo 4, I'm probably not getting to God of War anytime soon.
No, I feel that. I feel that. But hey, I mean, woe is us. Too many good games to play. That is a good problem to have. But I mean, to start off our day, let's hop into something that you did recently. This is an exciting clip that we have from some game that I don't understand. Enough of that. Here's the clip. So I believe this is the League of Legends. You're so focused. You're just grunting to yourself.
Nice.
It is, and
Nice.
I've got my fix.
cow.
I played for about 2 hours. I don't know anything
I don't
about the
know
different
what
builds.
happened there, but I know that
this
it
was
insane.
this was a 45-minute match that seemed to drag on and on and on. And I don't know what happened, but everybody died except for one person, and I felt like we should be excited. So I hope that you're excited because I had no clue exactly what was happening. Because I'm a noob.
I feel better about that because I watched that clip and I was like, I have no idea what's happening. Things are happening, and then you got excited. So then I got excited. I watched the clip and I'm like, I don't know why we're cheering, but we are. And then here we find ourselves reviewing the clip. But I guess it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
It felt like a big deal at the time.
It's nice. After a 45-minute match, you coming in and grabbing the victory is legendary.
Well, to double back on that, we lost. So after that, I said, I'm probably done. I probably need to go to bed after this. I don't know what's happening. I'm sucking it for my team. No one's happy with me because I don't play but once every 5 years, and I need to have some friends.
How sweaty was that match? Did your team just like cannibalize you? Were they just like, no, get out of here?
Well, League has done something really interesting that I didn't realize. So I know that you've probably, even though you don't know League in and of itself, it's been known as one of the most toxic gaming communities that there are. And the reason is because in League, the matches are really long. So you can get sucked into a 40-minute match, and if you have a player who's dying all the time, then you're kind of stuck in that match, and there's nothing you can do, and it can snowball really fast. But they've added this feature in. So they've been adding features all throughout the years to kind of prevent this toxicity from happening. But one of the features I noticed recently is that people can no longer see your username.
Oh.
So they assign you a fake name that they have pre-selected, and you're just that person to your team. So no one can come after the fact, after the match is over, and harass you or look up your Riot login and sort of harangue you for a bad time. And this is a feature that wasn't always there, so they've clearly added this in to kind of prevent some of the harassment that goes on after the match. Like, Phil, you suck, bro. You're the worst player. Go uninstall this game. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right.
HG would hate this game is what I'm hearing you say. That's for sure.
Well, there's no camping, that's for sure. So there's nowhere to hide.
Oh my goodness. I mean, big ups to you, like, for playing that game. I feel like if they were going to make up a name for me, I'd want to, like, put it on baby mode. Like, I'm Cream Puff 185. You can't really make fun of me because I'm just a child.
You don't, I mean, I guess I always had a romantic desire for myself to like learn a really hard game. You never had a game like that? I mean, maybe like for you, it would be like Dark Souls.
Yeah,
Right?
Sekiro. I tried to get into Sekiro, and that game I eventually had to just throw in the towel. Like, it wasn't going to work out for me.
It's so true. Like we all have that idea. It's like one day I'm gonna be really good at this, and then you're 36 and you're like, I'm not gonna be good at it, man. I'm too old, and the arthritis is kicking in, and the eyes are shaking back and forth, and I'm sweaty. It's just never gonna happen.
Yeah, but the good news about arthritis is you always know when it's about to rain, so that's always nice.
That's what I hear. That's what I hear.
Yeah, look at the upside, not the downside, right?
That's right.
Hey, are you ready for the dad joke of the day?
Depends on if it's good or not.
Well, in true Zelda fashion, I pulled a Zelda pun. Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild was originally intended for Wii U, but midway through development, they made the Switch. Boom! Stuck it. On a scale from 1 to 5, how many haws do you give that?
What? 2. Just 2. All of your dad
So
jokes
you give it a ha-ha? I'm okay with that.
All of your jokes are in their delivery. Everything for you is in the execution, which you execute flawlessly. You got everything out of that joke that you could get.
Dude, I took it all the way. I took it all the way. And I'm totally proud of it. Hey, if you're not here to hang out and listen to dad jokes, then why are you here in the first place? And the reason is because Twitch won't let us multicast anymore. You're watching us on YouTube. You're not watching us on Twitch. We don't know what's going on. They changed their policies. It messed with a whole bunch of content creators. We used to multicast everywhere because we like our YouTubes, we like our Twitches, but now we're kind of in the YouTube echo chamber. So come hang out with us, mark us, subscribe us, whatever, watch us go live. But Twitch may or may not come back. It depends on what they do in the next couple of days. But it sounds like they're walking back some of those policies. Have you seen any of that, Phil?
I haven't seen the walking back, but I'm sure if Big Doug in the chat says it's true, it's probably true. But I mean, for me, it's like you got small creators who are trying to get in front of a bunch of different people and just let people get on different platforms, and that's been a big benefit to us as smaller creators, especially in the live streaming space, to be able to have multiple outlets. It's not really affecting anything long term. So I don't understand it. These are things that are beyond my comprehension.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not here to talk about like social media and what's happening right now, but I would imagine the short form content is really taking up a lot of the marketplace, and it turns out YouTube has that and Twitch has no solution right now. So, but that tales for another day. If you want to hang out with us, come join us on YouTube Live. We'll always be there. We might go back to Twitch, but we normally do a giveaway, and I have come prepared with a giveaway. Are we going to give this away? I hope so. I don't know. Here it is. This is what came in the mail just yesterday. This is my airdrop crate. Now, I made a cute little short to kind of outline it today. Opened it up and went pop. And essentially, these crates are something they send to you every month, and you get a little swag in a bag box. And in this box, I got a hat. Well, let's just walk through them one at a time. One that is Demon Slayer plushie. Cute.
Nice.
This is a keychain from Ghost Recon Point Break. A bobblehead from Overwatch. Does that get you excited?
I mean, the most excited about all three of those things, yeah.
A Sombra. Do you play Sombra?
No, I don't play Sombra.
You don't play Sombra? Get out of here with your lack of Sombra. Okay, well, here's the deal. That's what I'm planning on giving away tonight. If no one shows up and watches this, then I don't know. I'm going to give it to HG, or I'm going to send it to my teacher wife to give away to her class, and we're going to make some children very, very, very happy, and hopefully we don't influence them into bad games, because that wouldn't be good on my conscience, would it?
Well, I wouldn't put Overwatch high on the list, but I get your point.
Well, Demon Slayer is not, I mean, I don't know. It is a cartoon, I guess, but it's anime, not a cartoon. You don't understand, Dad.
We're there. We are officially there.
We are officially there. But let's talk about it, because essentially, Demon Slayer is about a samurai that goes around and kills zombies, but you're not here to hear about that. You're here about games and our opinions about games. And with that said, it's time to hop in to our social interaction of the week. That's right, time for that social interaction where you got to get outside or just stay inside and talk about games. And what we're going to be doing today, Philip, is we are going to be ranking. We're going to do another tier list. Tell me what your thoughts are on this list.
This is cool. I mean, I don't know. It's weird because I think that Zelda is one of my favorite mythologies, but I don't know all of these characters.
Yeah, so full disclosure, we were planning on having one more special guest host here today that knows much more about this kind of stuff than we do. So I was thinking like, okay, we're going to let Case go off on this and just tell us about each one of the backstories of these races, and we're just going to make fun of him the whole time. But then he couldn't make it, so now we have no one to make fun of, Phil. That's where we're at tonight.
It is. So now we're going to have to legitimately go through this list.
This is true. Okay, so what we are ranking for those audio listeners is we are ranking the Zelda races, okay? These are the races over many Zelda games. I can't say all definitively, but hey, it is what it is. So we're going to go through and we are going to rank the Zelda races at this time. Okay, here we go. So we're going to start off by scrolling down a little bit, and here we are. We have all of these cute characters. Can you see those all right? Should I zoom in? Does that help you at all? Does that make your life a little better?
Maybe go to presentation mode underneath.
Oh, what does that mean? Presentation mode? Holy wow, look how nice that looks. Okay, here we are. We are in presentation mode. It's like they made that for a reason. That's so handy. Okay, so our tiers are the S tier, the A tier, the B tier, the C tier, the D tier, the F tier, the rat bastards, okay, and the what the heck is this thing and what is it doing in my Zelda tier list?
What's the over under that 50% of these are going to land on the WTF tier?
Probably all the majority of them. So let's like start with a banger. What's up, Eric in the chat? Here we go. Zelda Racings. Yep, we're going big. I think that I need to put some homies. I'm gonna pick my homies. I'm gonna pick my favorite first because, like I said, it's all about me. And I am going to take the Zora. Do you see Zora here? Am I picking one that doesn't even exist? Is it this fat guy?
The Zoras would be where are they?
No, it's this guy, right? But normally they're skinny and they have fins on their arms. I'm thinking the Majora's Mask guy, and this is definitely the king from that. I think the Zora, the water people. I think those are. I'm going S tier. I'm going S tier, baby. You can dolphin kick a Majora's Mask. That race is where it is at.
Okay, I will take Navi. I will take Navi, the fairies, as the tier below, A tier.
You're going to put Navi in A tier? I mean, Navi is basically useless. All she does is yell at you the entire N64 game, and she's so annoying that that's the only reason people know who she is. Do you realize that?
I concur, but you still do know who she is, and we don't refer to her as the fish person. So,
hey, listen! No one cares. No one cares. Just stop yelling at me. I'm going to figure this out on my own. I am going to take these freaking Korok people because these people are stupid. I cannot stand this. This is the worst part of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. These individuals are useless, and then you collect all the little seeds, and you get absolutely nothing for it. I do not like them. Get them out of here.
I would actually concur. I'm not going to help anybody else's friend in this game. I will take the Gorons for the B tier.
Ooh, good cut. Good call. Good call. Now, why B tier? Because they live underground or because they roll around?
Probably because they roll around. I mean, that's a better choice, I think.
I mean, geez. Okay. All right. Are you more of a red tunic guy or a blue tunic guy? The world must know.
Red tunic.
Red tunic. You freaking would. You freaking would. Nobody would wear the red tunic. No one's climbing in lava. You always take the blue tunic because you can breathe underwater, right?
You can't even breathe underwater. You can't even dive any longer.
Can't you breathe underwater in the N64 game?
Can you? I don't know. I don't think so, but you can't breathe underwater in the new ones.
So I do have to place the next one, and it's this great fairy from the N64 game. This is like the great aunt that would kiss you on the lips into your teenage years. She's a little creepy, she's a little nasty, but you have to love her anyway. And because of that, we're going to put her at a solid C.
Okay, then I will take the Gerudo, red-haired, and I will put that one in B tier because I actually think that of all of the locations in Breath of the Wild, I think Gerudo Town was one of the coolest. Although it was a little bit out into the desert, so it was kind of isolated. But I think it was one of the coolest areas on the map. So for that, it lands in B tier.
I mean, are you okay with me bumping this up one tier only because it was my first video game crush? Let's be real. Dude, they were so hot. They lived in a desert, a temple full of scantily clad women, an N64. Yeah, I'm in. Give me some mo. You can lock me up any day. You know what I mean?
All right, what are you picking?
You know what I mean? I'm gonna take this Deku guy. This Deku guys, they were cool, but they're kind of one-offs. We need to get some more Deku up in the Breath of the Wild series. Bring it back. I'm gonna put them B tier because I have to put them above the creepy ant or step ant. Probably a step ant, Eric. That's probably a step ant that's kissing you on the lips, and that makes it even weirder. And like, she really wouldn't join the family until it was a little too late. You know what I mean? Like, you were 15 when she joined the family, and now she's kissing you on the lips while you're 18. Yeah, exactly. Meow, 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 meow. If you know what I mean.
I will take the Rito bird, put that down into C tier.
C tier.
I think they're kind of a little overrated. They could have been made a lot stronger. I never really got the vibe that those warriors were that strong in Breath of the Wild or in this game. Also wasn't really my favorite. Although I did like the Wind Temple in Tears of the Kingdom. I think it was probably quintessential Zelda, but as far as the characters are concerned, low on the rating list.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I would always like want them to be a little bit more boss, and they were always just kind of like chintzy and cool, and I just didn't really do it for me. Okay, now we're getting to the point where I don't really know any of these people. Here are the humans, which just seems silly. Like, these are just townspeople, so let's put them in. Why are you in the video game? Humans are F tier. Let's be real. Humans are not great. We're gonna leave them in F tier.
I'll take the Moblin there, which has got the white background on the left-hand side. I'll actually put that in A tier because I actually think for an entry-level bot, for an entry-level warrior, the Moblins are actually pretty good. I actually quite enjoy them in combat. And I think that they are a good, because there's a lot of really crappy entry-level things like the jellies in Zelda, which pretty much are useless, but the Moblins, I think, are worth their weight.
The jellies are so bad, and it takes way too long to kill the like sucking things. You know what I mean? The things that like stick on the wall and suck you. Is that what you're talking about? With the jellies?
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. We're like running out of people that I know. A lot of these are going to end up in the I don't know what you're doing in my tier list deal. Is this a Korok lady? I like them.
Yeah, that's what was her name? Sarah or Sarai from Ocarina of Time. That was like one of Link's best friends when he was in the Korok Forest.
I mean, she's kind of cool. I'm good. I'll put her in the A tier. I'll put her A tier.
I'll put C tier. I will add the person from Twilight Princess. I believe it's the one there on the right. Yeah, because kind of annoying, but also kind of cool because they could turn into an animal. I only know that because I read the graphic novel. But we are getting down on this
okay, nerd. You read the graphic novel? Okay. What does that even mean?
If you didn't know this, they have graphic novels for pretty much all of the games. And I bought the Ocarina of Time. It's about 400 pages, which we just finished reading graphic novel for the entirety of Ocarina of Time.
Are you serious?
Pretty amazing. Yeah, I'm dead serious.
Did you have? Okay, all right. I have so many more questions. So many more questions for another time. Is that what that big encyclopedia book is? Does it have all of them in there?
It's just all chapters. Yeah, I mean the one big green novel that's about 400 pages that I bought that you read from back to front. It's the full story of Ocarina of Time. And I would say literally, I'm going to be straight with you. Every single one of these characters on the bottom, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Ban them all, put them all on the bottom. No knowledge as to what any of them are even from.
So this guy's a homie. This guy's a homie. I got to give this guy a little love. Only because I can't just leave him here. That's the guy from Wind Waker, and Wind Waker was probably one of like my favorite Zelda games. Let's be real. Cool art style. The boat felt like an open world, even though it might not have been that open. I'm a fan. Beyond that, I have no love for this. I'm sure this mouse was cool in Minish Cap, which I really liked, but I have no memory of that. So that said, we're just gonna randomly fire people and put them into this. We don't know what you are. We don't know where you come from. Especially this bird head. Like, what's going on with this? Can we talk about it? Like, what kind of thing of nightmares is this guy? Like, it's a chicken legs and then an alien type brain.
Oh, I think that this one chick here, if in the blue, is the chick that protects Zelda in Ocarina of Time from Ganon.
Isn't that Sheik?
Yeah, or she is a Sheik.
Okay,
which is a group.
And then there's this. Yeah. You see this? This is probably hard to see on your end, but this is like that pig guy. I think this guy's from Breath of the Wild.
No idea who that is.
Okay, so there it is. It's official. We know little to nothing about Zelda. And without Casey here, he can't go off and tell us the backstory on each one of these characters. Big tear. Wish you were here, but that's how it has to end. We took 60 to 80% of these characters and just put them in the "we have no idea who you are" list. On top, in S tier, we have the Zoras, but they represent it with the Fat King, which is a bad choice, and the Mogoblins. We got Navi. I don't know these guys' names. Basically, the two cute ones, like the best friend in N64, and then the Desert Ladies. And the list goes on and on. If you want more, check out the stream, because I'm not going to verbally announce each one of these. There you go. It is official. Does that mean
Put the stamp on it.
That we save this and submit this? Okay, download image. It's official. It's been downloaded, folks. There's no way we can change it. That's it. How do you feel about the ranking of the Zelda species?
I mean, I'm taking breath of fresh air. I feel like that list was 100% accurate. I don't think that there was anything that could have been done more to improve that list. And I would say we should just put the stamp of approval on it and get on to the week.
Let's do it. So the only way that we're able to play games is 1 hour a day. And that's exactly what we do with an hour of our lives.
It's 11 p.m. Should I play games or should I go to bed?
You should always play games. Always and forever is what you should do, is play games. And the game that we have, that we are talking, that we cannot stop thinking about, is a little game called Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Oh my gosh. This game is everywhere, Philip.
Yes, I mean, it is. I mean, I guess my question for you is like, what compelled you to buy this? Was it just FOMO? Is that where we were at? Or I know that you weren't initially compelled in the beginning to buy it, but what won you over?
What won me over was one, it was FOMO. I was on the road for like 6 or 7 days, like spread out over 2 weeks. Just like, I'm going to be on the plane, I'm going to be in the airport, and I'm really liking this Sparks of Hope game, which maybe we'll wrap back and talk about later at some other point. But Zelda's out and everybody's talking about it. So FOMO. And then the second part of that was like, there's some of these gaming individuals that I follow, like personalities, and there was a handful of them that just did not really vibe with Zelda Breath of the Wild, and I fell into that camp. Like, I was like, this game is like great, I respect it, I can see why people love it, but at the same time, like, this game does not feel like it has enough direction, and it feels a bit empty. And all of those personalities this time around kept saying, like, I didn't like the first one, but this one is grabbing me in some different way. And I have to be honest, like, they are spot on. This game improves on every bit of the first, and I think it does some really smart things in gameplay and world setup that makes it a more compelling game overall.
Well, shit, you've got me sold. So bring up some freaking clips. Let's see what you got.
Let's freaking do it. Okay, so the first thing that I have on our list here of things to go through is kind of boring, but essentially, right. But essentially, this is a clip from just a conversation that happens with some random NPC in like a well. And I'm just like, why is this important? Why are we even talking about this? And essentially what comes out of this character dialogue is that, like, hey, I'm really into looking into wells, and I want to see all the wells all over Hyrule. I'm going to mark them on your map and then pay you for each well that you go in. And inherently what this conversation means is now you have a reason to actually go into those wells. Whereas in Breath of the Wild, you go and you just be like, go poke into the environment and figure it out. And it'd be like, why? Like, I have no reason to do this stuff. This game takes all of those different aspects and gives you a reason to poke into every corner in the room. And that is what fundamentally changed and made this game so much better than the first one for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that you should bring that up. I think that Zelda as a game, at least the last two games for me, has had this weird dynamic where on one hand, they sort of want you to explore and they will offer you these incentives. But on the other hand, they sometimes punish you unnecessarily when you're trying to explore, even still with Tears of the Kingdom. So it's interesting.
Yeah, it really is interesting. And I know what you mean, like in terms of them punishing you. Like you kind of mentioned this when you were having trouble on stream the other day with one of those towers. You're like, that's my problem with this game, is it wants you to do it a very specific way, but it makes it feel like it's open-ended, but really they want you to do something in a very specific way. Which, by the way, I'm going to go back and turn that little segment into a short because that freaking cracked me up. You spent 20 minutes banging your head against a tower just for the rain to stop and for them to just be like, okay, kid, you go right ahead.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is that's my biggest frustration is that you want someone to explore the environment. You really have, unless you discover a random shrine, you have absolutely no checkpoint. You have nowhere to teleport to. I get out to a shrine. I get out to this tower. I know exactly how to unlock the tower, and it just happens to be raining. So I go, well, this must be a puzzle. And it turns out, no, we just want you to come back at a different time. Well, I'm all the way out here now, so I'm not coming back out here again.
But did you read any of the comments on that short? Like, apparently there was a way you were supposed to do it, and I really think the game was just like, oh, poor guy, we're just gonna give him a go-ahead on this one.
That's one way of interpreting this information.
That's what I think happened. I think the game was just like, oh man, we better turn this on easy mode because he's gonna be here for.
He's such a bad gamer. We just need to give him this tower. So what do you have in this clip?
So I mean, this kind of folds right into what you're saying, right? Like this game really feels like you're supposed to play it in a specific way, and you try to think like the game devs, but they basically integrate these different aspects where you feel like you're doing things you shouldn't be able to, right? And this was one of the moments that I felt that way. So essentially this is in the Wind Temple and you can't get into this room any real way. So I try to like use my partner's power to like gust through the hole. And I stand there and I make the gust happen and it doesn't work because it's hitting the wall, right? But as soon as I jump in the air and I hit the button at the right time, it cranks the lever and then makes the game actually like work. And it really felt like, okay, I'm cheating this. Like I'm not doing it exactly like the devs wanted me to, but I just kind of like got around it. And in hindsight, I think that's the way you're supposed to do it. Is that how you did it?
Yeah, this is how I did. I mean, but you're just supposed to be facing the other direction. You're supposed to be facing the actual sphere here. So first off, I will give you a round of applause simply because your brain works like mine does. Looking at this now logically, there's no freaking way that you were going to be blown through that grate.
No.
Like there's no way, but in that moment, you get so desperate to figure out what's going on that you just start saying the most radical things. You're like, well, maybe if I blow, then I'll bounce off of this and I'll go in. And like, no, it's probably something a lot simpler than that. But yes, it does often feel like they want you to be creative, but at the same time, they have a very specific idea in their mind of how they want you to accomplish it.
That's exactly right. And I think like what really makes this game an experience is like you're supposed to play it in a certain way, it feels like, but at the end of the day, like they give you this toy box to just break things. And that's this next clip is me trying to like, okay, I got to get this thing. I got to first shoot over there and then I'm going to come back and use this platform. So I go and I crank this guy around. I'm like, okay, it's going to shoot. Oh, wait, it just shot my platform into the great yonder, and I wasted all those Zonite devices to just watch it float away. And yeah, it's pretty frustrating at times.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say straight up, I'm gonna put my hater hat on here.
Oh,
Um,
welcome to the hater hat. Please put on your hat and let us know how
yep,
you hate.
I'm gonna put my hater hat on here, and I am gonna say that the building in this game sucks. It sucks, and I do not like it. And I mean, obviously, you know that I'm spatially challenged. I have no depth perception. So these type of puzzles, half the time, I can't even figure out which way to turn the plank to get it to lie flat. So I
So
don't.
I did learn something recently. If you hold like a plank up in the air and you hit the left trigger, it'll actually flatten it out for you. I learned that on the internet. Highly recommend.
Are you serious? This
Yeah.
is another one of those things, and I'm 25 hours into this game. Yeah, the building sucks. I'm not doing blocks here. I'm not trying to glue things together. I do that at the least amount of time possible. The only time I ever glue anything together is when I absolutely have no other choice, but I have to do it. And I find it to be tedious. I think that the puzzles become much more tedious, and I am not a fan. And with that, I'll take the hater hat off.
Dude, you just hate building. You just hate building. It's funny because last time we talked about this game, you were like, man, I just wish there was a way to like save your blueprints. That would be so much easier. That comes later. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Oh, spoiler alert. My bad. Hate to ruin the
No,
fun
that's
for you.
great. I love it. So they're gonna wait till you get this is very Zelda, isn't it? They're gonna wait till you get 125 hours in the game, and then they go, oh, by the way, you can just like build the trolley system. I will say that the game does feel like it's geared more towards young adults and older people. Like my son doesn't really know how a trolley system works, and he's on the younger end, and he or a pulley system, he couldn't play this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He couldn't figure that out on his own. So this game, whereas Breath of the Wild, I felt was much more geared towards even like 7 or 8 years old, would be fine. This definitely feels like 10 and up for sure.
Yeah, it really does. But I think it's smart in that it's the best of both worlds. You know what I mean? Like, you can hand this title to a kid and they'll probably like end up not having much fun with it because they're just gonna like get mopped by enemies left and right. But like the discovery aspect, I think is really what hits in this game. And I think another thing that Tears of the Kingdom does so much better than Breath of the Wild is that it has these Zelda moments that I had when I was younger that I think they really double down on in this game. And I have one that I brought here for the show, and it's essentially the ascent of the Wind Temple. So you're essentially like trying to figure out what's going on in the storm, and then when you get to this one level, you have these boats that are flying around that you can trampoline off of. And when you start getting higher and higher and higher into the sky, there's something that washes over you like, oh man, I shouldn't be here. And as you continue to get to the top of that storm and ascend it, you start to look down and you see within the storm, and that's actually where that temple resides. And it was just one of those moments that I'm playing it and I'm like, this is freaking amazing. Like, I can't believe how well done this is because I feel like I am pushing this adventure like way further than I thought it could go. And I think they continually do that over and over in this title.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you 100%. I mean, this is something I definitely agree. When you are sitting at the top of that wind maze and jumping from boat to boat, and then you kind of jump down, top down into the storm, I don't like. It was a pretty iconic and amazing moment. And I remember my son and I were sitting there, and he was like, "This is really cool," and I'm like, "Yeah, this is really cool." I don't want to give Tears of the Kingdom too much love, because I can feel my hater hat creeping in closer, but.
Uh-oh,
I
uh-oh.
think that this is a a great moment within that game.
Yeah, and I think I'm just getting old because like I had two moments both with Tears of the Kingdom and with Diablo 4, which we're going to transition to right after this next little thing that I have. But essentially in both of those games, like I watched the beginning cutscene, and when I eventually hit like that early title screen after you get a little bit of gameplay, I was just like, wow, this is some amazing craftsmanship in terms of games. Like, we are playing titles that are at the pinnacle of anything we've ever seen. And it really is an embarrassment of riches in 2023. When you jump off that platform in Tears of the Kingdom and you're floating down and they basically suspend you in the air and the camera swings around to look at the entire world from the Sky Islands, and you know that Hyrule sits below that and that's a whole nother world within itself, you're kind of in this moment of awe, like, wow, this is a massive game and the corners of this game are endless. And it's just a really cool moment. And I found myself like, yeah, I'm in. I'm here for this.
Yeah, I mean, I felt the same way. I thought that actually, to your point, both Zelda and Diablo had really great opening sequences, and it really set the tone. So my question for you is going to be, as we begin the transition here, which one, in your own opinion, do you think had a more impactful opening, Diablo or Tears of the Kingdom?
Good question. I think that my answer becomes Diablo. And here's why. Like, Tears of the Kingdom, it was kind of a known quantity for me. Like, I knew what to expect and I knew it was going to be grandiose. And I know it's like Nintendo's like sole title. Diablo is a franchise that I enjoyed when D2 came out back in the day. D3 I bounced off of. I don't even think I got 5 hours into that. And when the opening cinematic starts to play for Diablo 4, like, I was shocked by the quality of the graphics within this game. Like, this freaking game is gorgeous. And I know I'm playing a clip and I don't know where you're watching it from. Like, if you're on a dial-up internet connection and you have a low res feed where you are, the cinematic is not doing you justice. Because to see this on a Xbox X Series console and a brand new TV, it's breathtaking. Like, it's amazing where we are at in terms of digital cinematics right now.
Yeah, I would agree. I would actually make the argument that I don't. This is probably D4's opening cinematic is probably going to go down as like one of my favorite opening cinematics in a game ever of all time. It's like I don't think you can get much better than that.
Yeah, I really don't. And I don't have the one clip that I turned into a short, but like when they make the sacrifice and Lilith like comes to be, like that whole sequence, I was like mouth agape. Like, okay, I've watched a lot of cutscenes, I've buttoned through a lot of cutscenes, but something about that thing was like creepy and scary and like they made a horned demon woman work. And that seems dang near impossible. Like, it just, for me, like that would be like an eye roll, move on type moment in most games, and I feel like that really sat well with me here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that so far all of the cinematics that I've seen in D4 have been just absolutely amazing, and we're only a few hours in. But yeah, every cinematic I've seen, like that church sequence, they're all just pretty impactful.
Yeah, I am also really impressed with their storytelling. The next moment that I had in D4, and as you mentioned, I'm very early in this game, but it was this bar scene. So let me set the stage a little bit. So essentially, like, you go on your first mission, you go and you slay the baddies. You kind of know how it's going to go. And then you end up back at the bar, right? And in so many of these games, you're just here to turn in a quest. Let me button through some dialogue and you're going to give me the next quest piece. But as you come in and talk to one of these individuals, the camera slowly like pans in, and then before you know it, it's turned into like a cutscene in the bar, which I didn't expect. It was one of those things where I'm like, okay, just listening in the background, check my phone, and I look up and I'm like, oh, there's something weird going on. And it really impressed me because it seems like, in my opinion, Diablo has been like kind of a one-trick pony, and that's probably not fair because I didn't play a lot of D3, but this was a moment where I'm like, the attention to detail and the way they're pushing this specific game type forward is really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I mean, there's so many good things I can say, just like in my first 5 hours or 3 hours of D4, from the open world, from like they have really stepped it up with this game, and I think they hit it out of the park.
And this is kind of like later in that scene when you're in the bar and you're drinking. They're like, we can't pay you, but we'd love to give you some beer. And then before you know it, the townspeople are partying and dancing and having a good time, and then stuff gets weird. So I don't want to poison too much, but at this point, or spoil too much, poison too much, spoil too much, but but at this point, I think you had mentioned last night when we were playing this that this was the moment you're like, wow, this is pretty cool.
Well, yeah, honestly, my favorite moment comes kind of after this, where there's like a kind of some philosophy quotes, and there's someone like kind of humming, and it really is like comes right after this sequence, and I was like, this is like really setting the tone for what this entire experience is going to be like, and I wish I had clipped that. But yeah, I really felt like, okay, I'm going to be in this for a while. I'm sucked in. You've got me sold for a few hours at least now, anyways.
Yeah, definitely. And I know we're kind of like digging in the cinematics, probably because we're early on this game. I got my first taste of multiplayer with Phil last night, and we played until like 1 in the morning, and that was a blast. But what you showed me very quickly was like, hey, if you want to go do the story mission when you're like solo, so you want to save that, that's fine. There's so much side content here that we can just basically go do anything and like go into any cavern. And I thought that was a really smart way for them to do this game, because part of me was like, these cinematics are so good, I want to enjoy the story. I don't want to like walk through that in a multiplayer fashion where I'm going to like overlook the story. But at the same time, we were able to get in and get some pretty good loot off of some random caves. And I thought that was a really brilliant game design personally.
Yeah, me too. The fact that they kind of open it up to you, and there's just so much, right? There are little dungeons, there are live events, there are just different things happening all around, and you are free to kind of go where you want to go, and the pacing of the game is really quick. Like you go in, you drop your stuff off, you go back out, and it really encourages you to play a lot. One thing I will mention about Diablo, right, is I think where they really succeed is in their level design. If you look at their maps, right, their maps are really tight corners. And so everything feels pretty close together, and the risk reward to actually explore the map feels higher on the reward than it does on the risk, as opposed to like getting off on some long branch and being like, I got to trek all the way back. I think that they did a good job with level design.
Dude, you are so spot on, and I think we could really kind of elaborate that in the coming weeks, because I think that they do a really good job of making it feel just as you said. So there's just a little bit more just around this next corner, and then you like push into like just the next corner for like 5 corners, and then all of a sudden you're in like a whole new map. And you're like, well, I got to see what's over here, and it really hits that just a little bit more type mentality in the gaming sphere that many titles look for. So I think you're onto something there, man.
Yeah, I mean, and you know the pacing on this game is just relentless, right? Like we're in our inventory, and then all of a sudden it's like 50 enemies are running towards us. So they don't let up, and I'm excited to play it pretty much all summer long.
And I might be an old man, okay? I didn't play a lot of Diablo 3, but I am so happy that they don't make you buy town scrolls anymore. Like, that is brilliant. What a stupid feature that was back in the day. You get way out in the field, and all of a sudden you're in some stupid cave with no town portal map, and now you're up S Creek and you're dropping and inventory managing. Like, very smart choice. Was that a D3 thing too? Had they already done that?
No, D3 they had already fixed it. You could do the same teleporting. So you missed it if you had gotten into 3, but I agree with you. I do remember when town portals were a thing and it was obnoxious.
Well, I guess I'm just an old man.
Well, we'll all get there someday.
Yes, we will. But before we get there, we play some games with kids, and sometimes you can't play Diablo 4 with kids. I tried. And the nightmares will come, which is going to be pretty cool. So we are going to hop into some games that we think that you could play with your kid, and let's get into it. It's the Kids Corner. Because sometimes you have to play one for the kids. Are you looking for a game that's not
Super inappropriate.
That's what we're here for.
Have no fear. Safety is here.
That's right. This is the Kids Corner. We are going to talk about games that we play with our kids. And you know what? The kids like a handful of games that I've been playing. And the first one that I'm going to bring here, I don't have a great clip for, but essentially this is a game called Pressure Wash Simulator. And you may ask, why would you play a game that simulates work? And I say to you, I don't know. I'm broken as a human being and I can't stop playing this from time to time. You do? I mean, this is just a game where my kids will like grab the controller and be like, I want to do it. And then they'll just like do it all wrong. And I'll be like, please just let me finish it. You missed a spot right there. But the experience of me, like, of them watching me like get it, and they're like, oh yeah, yeah, go to that spot. Like, it's really fun. And then you get done with one of these maps and it gives you like a fast forward of everything you like blasted. So it's a nice little like 30-second recap of what happened, which is really satisfying. I noticed that in this like game clips that I've taken, I've not taken one gameplay, which means this is just a mindless release. And my father-in-law definitely judged me when he saw me playing it, because he's like, if you'd like me to set you up with a real pressure washer, I will, Shelby. And it's a perfect podcast game, as I'd say. Like, you can kind of just plug it in, still have a conversation with a wife, watch a show out of the corner of your eye and totally be good. You actually saw credits on a game that we discussed a month ago on our last Backlog Battler. Tell us a little bit about your final input on Ratchet and Clank. Sorry, I've muted. Yeah, that's pretty cool. We should totally make that a category. We should start like a category list of stuff that we're going to cover. Underrated game of the year sounds great, and we're just going to have to remember it because I have no pen. So there we are. Ratchet and Clank, this is a game I really want to play, but Daddy needs a PS5 before that happens. And guess what? Daddy don't have no PS5 right now. Okay, Phil? He don't have one. My second game here is a game called Tinykin. This game is like, what's it called? The Nintendo game where you collect the dudes and they do your bidding. Pikmin. This is like a Pikmin simulator. So essentially, you are shrunken down in some random long off world, which is essentially just a house. So you're going from room to room, and each level is a different type of room within a house. So sometimes it's a bathroom, sometimes it's a bedroom, sometimes it's a living room. And in each one of these levels, you essentially, we jump back to Ratchet and Clank somehow. But within each one of those levels, you basically go and you pick up these little tinykin who then follow you through the world. Now they have 4 or 5 different types of tinykin, and each one has a different ability, right? So the pink ones can like lift stuff up and move stuff, and the red ones can blow items up or blow up different blockades. And essentially you get into the situation where it's like, hey, it'd be really nice if you put the toaster in this corner of the room, and then you get 30 of the pink ones, it lifts it up and moves it around. But it's just a really good like collectathon style game that's really satisfying to go in, press into the corners, and the kids like love this game. This is the Go ahead. I think that it's the fact that they can resonate with all the different things in the level, and they're also like helping. Like, oh, Dad, look over there. Like there's one you can get, or oh, Dad, you should do that. And they're like actively engaged because it's the stuff is pretty elementary, like in terms of what you're trying to do and accomplish, but it's just challenging enough to make it intriguing for an adult. So this is a game that I would highly suggest like an adult grab a controller, have your kids around, and they're probably going to jump into it and make it a game. You know what I mean? Make it like, hey, look into this corner, try this. And the kids really, really liked it. I started reading or interacting with characters and like doing voices. And now we got to the end of the game, and they don't realize that the game is over and it's time to move on. And they want to continue to play the game. can't. I can't do it, Phil. I can't do it. Oh my gosh, kids do not get it. Kids do not get it. But hey, you know what? We still make time for them. We still play games with them. So if you're looking for a suggestion, I would definitely check out one of those three games we covered: Power Wash Simulator, Ratchet and Clank, and Tinykin. All games that I enjoyed greatly. I think Tinykin is up there on one of the games I've enjoyed the most this year. And man, there's as previously mentioned, there's been some really good games out there. So yeah, good stuff. Let's go to the mystery box giveaway. I see there's a couple people in the chat. If you're hanging out with us and you want to drop something in the chat, I have a beautiful gift here. It came to me from Airdrop Crates. They allowed me to pay them for this. I've canceled my subscription since then, but I have this stuff, and if anybody would like any of it, I am happy to ship it out to you, because if you're a supporter of the show, we are here to send you some swag. I think this is probably one of my favorite ones. This is a Forza Horizon hat. I know Dr. Z is not normally one for hats, but I thought of him. So some pretty cool stuff here. Here's some Demon Slayer swag, some Overwatches. Do you know who this one is? Who is this one? Dude, you don't know who Sombra is? What if her first name is Peppermint? Does that do anything for you? You weren't like, oh, Peppermint. Yeah, no, I know who that is now. Here's some Overwatch buttons too. So cool. If you're in the chat, drop a line, say hello. I may try to hand it off to Dr. Z because I saw him in the chat earlier. Eric, I know you're with us as well. Thanks for hanging out and joining us. But yeah, we're here to do things for the show. And what I am thinking we're going to do for next week's giveaway is change up our format a little bit. So what we've been doing for a little while is we've been basically like buying things we think are cool and then giving them away. And what I've kind of come to is like, as a person that likes consuming things on the internet, that's not really what I would prefer. I would much rather have like a $10 gift card or something of that nature. So we're going to set something up for our next backlog battler. Okay. We're going to pose to you a prompt, and that prompt is, what is the best weapon item fusible combo in Zelda Tears of the Kingdom? We want to know. And what's going to happen is we're going to put this on Discord. I've created a channel tonight. We'll drop it in the YouTube chat here in the next couple of moments. Or we're also going to make a short out of it, and we urge you to put your best combo in there. And we urge you to be funny. Like, why are we combining these? Why get creative? Make a little fun out of it. Phil, do you have a go-to in terms of two fusible items that you use in Tears of the Kingdom? Wait, why is it stupid? Dude, it's my favorite combo. And the reason it's my favorite combo is because I felt like I was a genius when I came up with it. And in hindsight, that's obviously why they put it there. Like you're breaking through rocks and it's like, oh, we're just going to randomly drop a sword and a rock. And you're like, oh, yeah, I know what I could do. And I thought I was just like the smartest kid around. And then in hindsight, I'm like, boy, I bet everybody came to that conclusion. Oh my gosh. Dude, why are you so grumpy with the rock sword? I mean, we have to know. What would you rather see on your sword? Like another sword? Would you be okay with fusing a sword to another sword? I think my favorite part of your whole argument here is like, I can't stand that you put a rock on a sword, but you're like, I really like how you can make light arrows, just attach a light rock to an arrow and shoot it into the woods to make things light up. Like, you heard it here first, folks. That is why the physics are broken in Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Is because a kid should not be able to lift a claymore attached to a boulder. Oh, too funny, too funny. Oh, well done. Okay, so Tears of the Kingdom. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do another giveaway here. It may be next week. It may be 2 weeks from now. You know, I haven't even talked to Phil about next week. We've been in this other every other week like rotation. But hey, I'm having fun. I'm also going out of town here in a month, so we might throw another show together. Who knows? But what I do know is that we had another segment here, which I was kind of leaning on Casey to be here with. But hey, it's the state of games. Let's talk about it.
I'm legit going crazy right now. You can't do this to me.
So our inspiration for the state of games has to do with Apple's announcement to put a headset on the market for, wait for it, $3,500 American tender. What are your initial thoughts here, Phil? I did. I did. I did too. Mhm. I'm with you. I think that this device is doing a lot of really good things that I think need to happen in headsets before they like penetrate the masses. And the first is like the ability to just like see, like communicate somehow that you are actually in the real world right now. And they have that thing that kind of fades in and out with like showing the eyes or not showing the eyes, and you being able to like look in and see somebody is actually attentive so you can actually talk to them seems like a really good step in that direction. Like I find that when I'm in the Oculus headset, I'm so disconnected from the rest of the world that I don't feel like I should be wearing it because I have a family and I shouldn't just be on the couch in a headset. So it's like one bridge too far for me. I'm also a firm believer that software sells hardware, right? And if there actually is applicable utility in this headset, there's a chance that this could catch on in the market. $3,500, you're not buying this unless you are well off or really an enthusiast. So I think they're kind of in a weird spot. I think the reviews need to come out and people need to be raving about this for it to stick around. But also it's Apple. You know what I mean? Like I got some opinions on Apple and they're not good. Like their products are overpriced in my opinion, and their software is very user friendly, but it's elementary to the point where I don't often choose to use it. Well, I mean, why would you? Hint, hint, wink, wink. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I completely agree. I completely agree. And I that's why I have an Oculus headset. Was like, hey, I have to have one of these because this is the future. And like to be honest with you, I pulled it out, I bought a whole bunch of stuff. I didn't even play all the stuff I bought, and now it sits in the closet for a day that I'm gonna feel not guilty enough to like take it out and play it with my family on vacation or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I'm literally gonna need like a week by myself in order to feel good about playing it, and that's not today. Um, That's not today. The in terms of like a final thought here is I think if any company is going to be able to make a headset work, I think Apple is probably the best poised to do so. And the reason is because they have the older demographic in the market right now. If you talk to anybody over the age of 45, there's a good chance that that individual is using an iPhone. And it's because they kind of brought up, they were a little scared of the technology, and iPhone was just accessible enough for them to use. If they can make this headset as user friendly as the iPhone was for that generation, I think that they are going to be able to penetrate a market that Meta and Valve have not been able to penetrate thus far. And it makes me excited because all the stuff that I see coming out on these headsets seems really cool, but because of the experience that I've had, I feel like I've had that one trick pony, and it's going to take like a killer game or experience for me to get back in. A great example of that is the new Half-Life game, Half-Life Alyx, being like a 5-star experience, is a game that I want to play. I have the headset and I'm not finding the time to play that game. So what's going to have to happen is the utility's going to have to be there, or the software is going to have to be so good that it's going to be like, you have to try this. Mhm. Yeah, it's coming too. Like you said it right at the beginning of the segment, which was, I think we're still 10 years out, and I think you're right. This is happening. This will happen. Virtual headsets are going to be the future. I don't know if you've seen that prototype floating around, but it's like glasses you can put on that basically allow you to see like a 50-foot monitor or a 50-inch monitor. And it feels very chintzy, like it might not work, like it feels like magic in this machine right now, but it's coming. It's like it's going to be here sooner than later. Yeah. Yeah. So cool. That's gonna wrap it for the show. It is 9:17. We've gone for about an hour, and we appreciate hanging out. This is another episode of Backlog Battler. One thing that I want to mention before we leave here, and if you're still hanging around, good on ya. Diablo 4. I played through it, the tutorial. Then I attached my Blizzard account, and then I went back to the tutorial. So if you're getting in, make sure to connect the Blizzard account early, because that is gonna be your primary character. And you don't want to play through the prologue twice. Even though you played through it like 3 times, right? Because you're a beta warrior. Yeah, for sure. Well, cool. Well, we're gonna wind the show down. Anything that you want to cover before we say goodnight, Mr. Karen? Cool. Thanks for hanging out. Know that we are putting together Backlog Battler episodes every other week. Eric takes the other weeks and does a little Pokemon underpowered hour. Underpowered Pokemon hour is how I should have said that. Casey's going to come back and probably do some interviews as well. So the channel will be popping. And if you have not yet subscribed to our social feed, please do so. Our goal is to hit a whole bunch of views by the end of the year. We've had some great traction in the last 5 to 7 days, and we're not going anywhere. So hang out with us, enjoy the journey, and be a part of our community. We appreciate you. Make sure to celebrate games and be kind to yourselves. This brings us to another close of a Backlog Battler. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night. Later, y'all.